Welcome to Life Stories, where we share extraordinary tales of resilience, betrayal, and triumph that inspire and teach us about life's deepest lessons. Today, we bring you the story of Ethan Harper, a man who turned heartbreak into success, proving that the strongest victories often come from the hardest battles. From being betrayed by his own family to building a billion-dollar empire, Ethan's journey is one of determination, integrity, and redemption. Stay tuned as we uncover his remarkable path and the profound lessons he learned along the way. Don't forget to subscribe to Life Stories to begin today's incredible story. My name is Ethan Harper, and this is the story of how I learned that life's deepest betrayals often pave the way for our greatest victories. It's a lesson that took me years to understand, and one that unfolded in the most unexpected ways. You see, in business, just like in family, the person you trust most can be the one quietly plotting your downfall. But fate has a way of rewarding those who endure with persistence and integrity. Let me take you back to where it all began. Harper Tech Solutions wasn't always the successful $100 million enterprise it is today. In fact, 15 years ago, it was just a modest IT consulting firm, struggling to stay afloat. My father, Thomas Harper, had built it from scratch with sheer determination and an undeniable brilliance in technology. But for all his technical genius, my father had little sense for business. He poured his heart into the company but often overlooked practicalities, leading us closer and closer to financial ruin. By 2010, Harper Tech Solutions was on the brink of collapse. We were 3 months away from bankruptcy, and my father's health had begun to deteriorate under the immense pressure. I was only 25 then, fresh out of business school, brimming with ideas but unsure of how I'd make a difference. My older brother Brandon, on the other hand, was 30 and already a local celebrity in the nightlife scene. Dad adored him, showering him with praise for his charm and charisma. But while Brandon could light up a room, he wasn't the kind of man you'd trust with a ledger. His reckless spending and carefree lifestyle had already cost the company several major clients. One rainy Tuesday, I found my father slumped over his desk. The sight of him, his shoulders hunched, his hands clutching the latest financial reports, tears welling in his tired eyes, broke something in me. "It's over, Ethan," he whispered, his voice trembling. "Everything I've built. I'm going to lose it all." I can't explain what happened at that moment, but something inside me snapped. I couldn't stand to see my father, the man who had sacrificed so much, give up on his dream. I decided then and there that I wouldn't let Harper Tech Solutions fail. Even if I had always been second to Brandon in my father's eyes, I was determined to prove my worth, not for recognition, but for the survival of the company and the legacy it represented. While Brandon was busy spending company money at exclusive clubs, I rolled up my sleeves and started working 18-hour days. I immersed myself in every aspect of the business, learning its intricate details and finding where it was bleeding the most. I met with every client, reviewed every contract, and began restructuring the company's operations. My mother worried incessantly, often bringing dinner to my office at midnight. "You need to rest, Ethan," she'd say, her voice gentle but firm. "You can't save this company by yourself." But I believed I could. The first year was a brutal one. I renegotiated contracts, cut unnecessary expenses, including Brandon's lavish entertainment budget, and personally visited every client we had lost. Many of them slammed their doors in my face, unwilling to take another chance on Harper Tech. But I kept returning, driven by a stubborn belief that persistence would eventually pay off. And it did. By the end of that year, Harper Tech Solutions wasn't thriving, but it was surviving. We were breaking even, a small but significant victory. Brandon, however, found my efforts laughable. "Look at little Ethan playing businessman," he'd mock whenever he bothered to show up at the office. "Dad's still going to put me in charge. You know, I'm the oldest." I ignored him. What mattered to me wasn't his opinion, or even my father's favoritism, but the future of the company. Over the next 5 years, I transformed Harper Tech Solutions from a struggling IT consultancy into a cutting-edge digital transformation company. We developed proprietary software solutions, expanded into cloud services, and built a reputation for excellence. The company grew exponentially, its revenue soaring from $2 million to over $100 million. Our staff grew from a humble 20 to over 500 employees, and we opened offices in 3 countries. My father's health improved alongside the company's fortunes, but his favoritism toward Brandon remained unchanged. At every family dinner, Dad would praise Brandon's supposed business acumen while I sat quietly, scrolling through quarterly reports on my phone. It stung, of course, but I learned to let it go. I wasn't doing this for credit or recognition. I was doing it for the people who relied on Harper Tech Solutions, the employees who worked tirelessly, the clients who placed their trust in us, and the dream my father had once believed in so deeply. Yet, even as I focused on building the company's future, I couldn't ignore the past. I kept meticulous records of every decision Brandon sabotaged, every client he drove away, and every dollar he wasted. Quietly, I built relationships with our key clients, ensuring I was indispensable to their operations. I also made another crucial move, one that would later prove to be my lifeline. During those dark days when we were near bankruptcy, I used my personal savings and took out loans to keep the company afloat. In exchange, I secured a 40% ownership stake in Harper Tech Solutions. At the time, I thought it would be enough to protect me, but as I would later learn, life has a way of throwing curveballs, especially when betrayal is just around the corner. For all the effort I poured into Harper Tech Solutions, for all the sacrifices I made, I never saw the betrayal coming. In hindsight, the warning signs had been there all along, but I was too focused on my work to notice, or perhaps I just didn't want to believe my own family could turn against me. It all started with my father's announcement. He had decided to retire and would name his successor at the next shareholders' meeting. Everyone assumed it would be me. After all, I had been effectively running the company for years, and our success spoke for itself. Even Brandon seemed to sense the shift, showing up at the office more often, though his contributions were still minimal. I spent weeks preparing for the shareholders' meeting, crafting a comprehensive growth strategy for the next 5 years. I wanted to show everyone, especially my father, that Harper Tech Solutions was in capable hands. That Friday afternoon, the boardroom was packed. The air buzzed with anticipation as my father stood to make his announcement. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "As you know, I'm retiring as CEO of Harper Tech Solutions. This company has been my life's work, and choosing my successor was not an easy decision. But there's only one person who truly embodies the leadership qualities needed to take this company to the next level." I sat up straighter, my heart pounding. This was the moment I had worked for, sacrificed for. "My son," he continued, "Brandon Harper will be taking over as CEO, effective immediately." The words hit me like a physical blow. I barely registered the room falling silent. My ears were ringing, my chest tight. But before I could process what was happening, my father kept going. "Furthermore," he said, glancing at Brandon, "some concerning irregularities have come to my attention. It seems that certain individuals have been making unauthorized decisions and potentially compromising the integrity of our operations." Brandon stood then, holding a folder. His expression was carefully crafted, his voice dripping with feigned sympathy. "I'm afraid my brother Ethan has been acting outside his authority," he said, "making promises to clients we can't keep, engaging in reckless and unethical practices. It's all here in black and white." Every word was a twisted version of the truth. The decisions they called unauthorized had saved the company from bankruptcy. The promises I made to clients were what rebuilt their trust in us. But Brandon spun the narrative masterfully. painting me as a reckless liability rather than the architect of our success. My father's final words cut deeper than I thought possible. As my last act as CEO, he announced, "I am terminating Ethan's employment with Harper Tech Solutions. Effective immediately." Before I could respond, 2 security guards appeared at my side. They escorted me out of the building as whispers and stares followed me down the hall. My keycard was deactivated. My access revoked. I was devastated. Humiliated. But even in that moment, as I walked to my car under the weight of betrayal, I wasn't defeated. Brandon and my father might have stripped me of my title, but they had underestimated me. They didn't know about the quiet preparations I had made over the years, the relationships I'd built, the evidence I'd documented, and the shares I owned. More importantly, they didn't realize that when you spend a decade building a company's technology infrastructure, you learn every corner, every hidden flaw, and every back door. That evening, I sat in my home office, staring at the ceiling. Rage, sadness, and disbelief churned inside me. But as the hours passed, those emotions settled into something else: resolve. I wasn't just going to fight back, I was going to win. I picked up my phone and sent a single text message to an old friend at the SEC. "It's time," I wrote. Then, I waited. Monday morning was going to be very, very interesting. Monday morning arrived with a thunderstorm. The kind of weather that seemed to mirror the turmoil brewing beneath the surface. I sat in my home office, sipping coffee, watching the clock tick toward 9 a.m. Brandon would be stepping into his new CEO office for the first time. Probably grinning ear to ear, basking in his ill-gotten victory. He had no idea what was about to hit him. The weekend had been revealing. My mother left tearful voicemails, pleading for me to forgive Brandon and put the family back together. My father didn't call at all. And Brandon, well, he spent the weekend celebrating at exclusive clubs. Pictures of his escapades were all over social media, complete with company credit cards casually visible in the frame. It was classic Brandon: arrogant, careless, and completely unaware of the storm headed his way. At exactly 9:15 a.m., I received a text message from Sarah, my loyal assistant who Brandon hadn't bothered to fire. "It's starting," the message read. I opened my laptop and accessed Harper Tech Solutions' internal systems. Brandon always dismissed technology as geek stuff, refusing to learn even basic cybersecurity protocols. It was a mistake I had counted on. After building the company's infrastructure, I had ensured there was always a backdoor, one only I knew about. The camera feed from the CEO's office flickered to life on my screen. There he was, coffee in hand, settling into the leather chair that had been mine. He pressed the power button on his computer, likely ready to start his reign with a smug sense of triumph. Instead of the Windows login screen, a video began to play. It was security footage from 3 years ago, showing Brandon sitting in that very office. The audio was crystal clear. "Of course. I can get you their information," his voice rang out confidently. "My idiot brother does all the work anyway. Just make sure the payment goes to my Kaiman account." Brandon's smug grin dissolved into panic. He slammed the keyboard, yanked at the mouse, but nothing worked. The video continued to play on every screen in the office. His phone buzzed, and I imagined his heart sinking further as he read the notifications. The SEC had received an anonymous tip about insider trading, complete with documented evidence of Brandon's activities over the past decade. His private emails were also suddenly buzzing, years of confidential communications leaked to the company's board members. Down in the lobby, federal agents walked through the front door. I watched through the security feed as they marched to the elevator, briefcases in hand, their expressions unyielding. At 9:30 a.m., Sarah entered Brandon's office with a calm, composed demeanor. "Mr. Harper," she said, "the board members are requesting an emergency meeting. Also, there are federal agents here to see you." Brandon's face was a mix of confusion and terror. "Tell them I'm busy." Cancel everything. Get IT up here to fix these computers. Sarah didn't flinch. I'm afraid that won't be possible. The entire IT department resigned this morning. They sent a company-wide email explaining their decision, something about loyalty to the person who actually built this company. Brandon's hands trembled as he tried to form a response. But Sarah wasn't done. She placed a folder on his desk. And there's one more thing, she said. This contains the ownership structure of Harper Innovation Labs, the subsidiary that holds all our intellectual property, patents, and client contracts. As of this morning, it is no longer affiliated with Harper Tech Solutions. It's now 100% owned by Ethan Harper. The color drained from Brandon's face. He stammered. But the clients? They've already been informed of the change in management. Sarah replied. Most have signed new contracts directly with Harper Innovation Labs. It was over. Brandon had stolen an empty shell of a company. Every valuable asset, every client relationship, every employee who mattered, they were all loyal to me. As federal agents entered the office, followed by the company's legal counsel, Brandon's reign as CEO lasted less than 2 hours. He was escorted out in handcuffs. His designer suit wrinkled. His face ashen. But my revenge wasn't complete yet. There was still the matter of my father and the lessons he was about to learn. As I look back on everything that happened, I realize this story isn't just about betrayal or revenge, it's about resilience, integrity, and knowing your worth. Harper Innovation Labs is now a billion-dollar company, built on hard work, loyalty, and the lessons I learned the hard way. My brother Brandon served his time and now works in Las Vegas, far from the world of business. My parents live quietly in Florida, a safe distance from the empire I've built. I've learned that sometimes the people closest to us can hurt us the most. But that pain can fuel something extraordinary. The best revenge isn't destroying your enemies, it's building something so strong that they're forced to acknowledge they bet on the wrong person. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more inspiring tales of resilience and life lessons, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Life Stories for more.